was situated at the strategic and vulnerable northern border. That's against Syria, the Golan Heights. Moses' blessing was that Asher would defend that important area as if it was sealed by bars of iron and copper. Wow, so we're talking, the Torah does not condone illegal immigration.
The only thing it doesn't say is Ha'am im Hagolan, but it's very. Yeah, the Torah, at the plain reading, is very serious about protecting those borders from impurities, keeping out people who don't know what's up, and protecting the homeland. So yeah, I mean.
I want to do what's the German national anthem? Isn't it something about the homeland?
Well, it's Deutschland über alles, but that's not
Deutschland über alles.
No, but that's not the national anthem. That was. Good God, it's not still the national. Yeah, no, it was like I think that was like a Nazi slogan. Yeah, not the German one, the Nazi one.
Right. Oh.
There's a difference, Luke. You've been too conditioned by this community already.
They're all Nazis. They're Hitler's willing executioners.
Right. But, yeah.
You okay, Monica? You doing all right there?
But I think if you go with door bolts though, and which may be just as good a translation, I agree. Then it becomes very different. It's about security. It's about paying attention to, protecting what's important. And using. Yeah, I mean, it lends itself then to a much.
I wonder what Emmanuel Levinas would say about verse 25, Monica. Like this very pro-strong border sentiment, I wonder.
I think he would support it.
Really?
Yeah, I think in one of the 9 Talmudic readings, it's not the temptation of temptation, it's Torah as promised land or permitted land. He gets into it in that reading of, and I forget the Talmudic reading that he's explicating, but my sense of it is that he's for the borders
of the literal Israel.
I would say so.
Wow.
I would say so.
Wow.
See, you don't know Levinas.
I really don't know Levinas, I think. 33:16.
I will just before we move on quickly. Yes. I mean, to me, the only personally relevant interpretation would, I'm disappointed in Levinas. or not.
Well, except that you have borders to keep out the enemy, right? And my guess is that who the enemy is changes,
right.
And who makes him or herself an enemy. So if Arabs or Palestinians or whoever can live peacefully among Jewish Israelis, are they still an enemy?
Right,
Maybe not.
Right.
So that I think that complicates the issue a little bit more in ways that are more interesting.
Yeah, and I think for us here, there really are no enemies. I mean,
what about illegal Mexicans who come here to wave our cars?
They're the exception, but no.
Didn't you see that movie, A Day Without a Mexican?
Yeah, I did. Like the country fell apart.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's always been. I've always thought, let's kick out all the illegal immigrants, and then what are we going to do with the San Joaquin Valley? Because the entire agricultural industry of this state would collapse. But we'd feel good. We'd feel purged.
We'd feel pure
of brown people. but I do think that actually I don't remember what I was going to say anymore.
There's a call in the chat room. Maybe Monica could explain the deep thought with an interpretive dance.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful women have it so hard. They.
Have you ever studied interpretive dance, Monica?
Well, that's how we began this Torah session. Somebody came late.
Somebody came late. They missed the entire.
It's my major in college, interpretive dance.
It's amazing. It's very seductive the way she does it. It's a lot of
get that sentence out without dying. I tried to keep a straight face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, woe is me. 33:16.
It's encouraging.
By the favor of he who rested upon the thorn bush. Whoa. I didn't know. I've never spent much time resting upon thorn bushes.
Favor with the bounty of earth and its fullness, and the favor of the presence in the bush. Wait, read yours again?
This says, by the favor of he who rested upon the thorn bush.
Mine's totally
I'm thinking,
different.
youch.
Yeah.
Mine's totally different.
What's yours say?
From the excellence of the land and its fullness, the favor of the seneh bush, Seneh. I mean, it's a Hebrew word that's obviously not translatable. Dweller. The favor of the seneh bush, dweller. May it come on the head of Yosef, on the brow of the consecrated one among his brothers. And then the footnote says the same phrase is used of Yosef in Genesis 49:26. It might also be rendered the one set apart.
Okay, well that's different from resting on thorn bushes.
Right.
The
That
one
sounds
who,
really painful.
he would be set apart. The one who's resting in that bush is set apart.
Let's see.
Yeah, this says dweller. Presence can also be
Yes.
just dweller, and the favor of
Yes.
the dweller in the bush.
Yes.
What kind of liberal version of the Bible do you have
No,
there,
this
Monica?
is a translate. This is Everett Fox's translation. It's based on the Buber Rosenzweig translation.
He's
with
an
some-
academic, right? He's not into binary thinking.
Of course not, Everett Fox.
It's
Yeah, but
very
I
well
think
regarded
this is yeah, it is very well regarded. This
Okay.
is supposed to be the most. This is supposed to be the closest to the Hebrew, because it preserves all of the poetry and the lyricism and blah blah blah.
Okay.
But it's
That's
interesting the
corrected.
differences.
Yeah.
Yeah, very.
I mean, this doesn't make it. That doesn't make it right.
Right,
It just.
right. No, it is interesting.
Wait. Huh. Yeah, it's talking about all the. This is among all the blessings of Joseph, and it's the favor of the dweller in the bush. Yeah, it sounds like, along with all his bounties, he's going to be safe. Because that sounds threatening to me. The dweller in the bush sounds potentially like someone who's dangerous. I don't know if that's how was written. But.
Did you have something, Monica?
No, I was thinking about there's that story in the Talmud about the thorny hedge. I don't remember the point though, and I wish I did.
Okay.
Never mind.
But thank you for that.
Yeah.
Chapter 3, verse 1, in the commentary in the Outscroll, it says, God bless the people that their leaders should always be men of God, that they not only be wise, strong, and principled, but they be saintly and kindly. Certainly, the modern state of Israel's leaders have not been men of God. In fact, they've been resolutely, almost all have been almost resolutely atheists. I'll tell you what, if my country was under attack, like the modern state of Israel has been under attack for the last 50, 60 years, I wouldn't really be caring that much about the theology of my leaders, worrying if they were men of God. I just want men of sword.
Right. Well, but yeah, I mean, there's different kinds of leaders. Certainly, you want the military leaders to be men of war, but they don't make. In the U.S., I mean, military leaders have not tended to make great political leaders. I mean, Ulysses S. Grant and Eisenhower are both not all that highly regarded. In Israel, maybe.
But in Israel, they've almost all been.
Well, they've all been military.
Yeah, because that's the number one problem.
Right. But you don't want. I mean, I'm into the civilian control of the military thing. I mean, you want the military men because they can fight. But do you want them making strategic decisions about war and peace? I don't know.
But, I mean, yeah. Yeah. I've got a point that I think Monica will like with her heretical thinking. Chapter 34, verse 11. And it says, verse 10. Never again has there arisen in Israel a prophet like Moses. Never again since when? Like, when was this? I thought this was given 3,200 years ago. Never again has there arisen. Like, that doesn't make sense. If this was given 3,200 years ago, why is it saying never again? It sounds like this was written hundreds of years later. How would they know? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Right, it's written after the fact.
It's written after the fact, right? That's what it seems. Not that I don't believe that, but that's just my...
From a literary perspective.
Yeah.
Well, it's also, I mean, I think the Torah is presumptuous about pretending to know the future. I think that's it's prophetic. Yeah, I mean, they're
this could be an instance of the prophetic.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
The divine
if you want
wisdom.
to argue against this being a later edition.
Right.
Well, even if it is a later edition, it's still prophetic. I mean, because they're
true.
never again. Well, it's hard to talk about never again because that encompasses a lot of future.